celebration. Here comes pick number 2.
With the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jayden Daniels, quarterback, LSU.
Again, what a season he had. Combined rushing and passing over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. He won the Heisman, the Walter Camp, the Unitas, the O'Brien, and Manning Awards, and was the AP College Football Player of the Year. You mentioned that he started at Arizona State, started 3 seasons there, 2 in Baton Rouge. So he's 23 years old with lots of experience. The frame, Lewis, is what everyone talked about. Weighed in at 210 at the Combine. That silenced a lot of those questions.
Yeah, I never had any questions about that, especially after I got to see him in person down in Baton Rouge at the Pro Day. The same way I had no questions after I saw C.J. Stroud at Ohio State. I got the same feeling about him. The people down at LSU will tell you this. The amount of time that this young man put in from the day he stepped foot on campus to build towards this moment, the amount of investment that he made in his ability to go ahead and be able to be consistent for this football team, to not back away from any challenge. As a matter of fact, he ran toward every single challenge that was put in his way at LSU, and it manifested itself, not by accident, in him having a season where he was number 1 in total QBR, number 2 in QBR in the pocket, number 1 in QBR outside the pocket. He's a guy who can just absolutely cut your heart out with his legs, and guess what? He's still a work in progress. So now, again, Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator in Washington, you're up. You're up now in terms of build that relationship with him. Adam Peters, make sure he's protected. Adam Peters, make sure you get him weapons. Defense, play your part. Magic Johnson, all the owners down there in Washington. Josh Harris, make sure you support him. No whispering about we could have had someone else or maybe we wanted someone else. Pour into him the same way he's going to pour into your organization, and you'll get it back tenfold.
You know, I had a chance to visit with him, and I talked to him. What was the difference between year 1 and year 2 at LSU? He talked about the consistency. It's the first time since high school he had the same offensive coordinator, the same group of receivers, the same coaches, and we saw the climactic rise that he had from year 1 to year 2 winning the Heisman Trophy. LSU used artificial intelligence to help him. The processing, he's an elite processor along the lines of C.J. Stroud to process information, to deliver the football. We hadn't even got to the athleticism. We're not talking about how fast he can run, but his ability to play the quarterback position. Oh, by the way, and then you add in the running ability. That's why this young man is going to be special. He was special in Baton Rouge from the moment he got there. He'll be special in the National Football League.
Really similar to Joe Burrow's ascension to be the number 1 pick overall. He went from Ohio State to LSU. In year 1 at LSU, he was good. He wasn't special. In year 2, with Jefferson and Chase, 2 great receivers, he was spectacular. Won a national title, became the number 1 pick overall, and has had a great career so far. Jayden Daniels went from Arizona State, where he was pretty good.
Yeah.
And he was a guy, he looked like a 3rd, 4th round pick after his first year at LSU. This year, like Joe Burrow, with the help of a guy like Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas Jr., same with Burrow, having the 2 receivers, Jefferson and Chase, took his play and his performance to another level. He was unbelievable game in and game out, and didn't have a defense, so he had to put points on the board and match points and bring them back in the 4th quarter. He didn't win the national title, no fault of his own. It was the defense that wasn't very good. Joe Burrow had more talent on that side of the ball. He didn't, but the situation, so if you're worried about a 4th to a 2nd pick overall, just look at Joe Burrow.
Subway, Molly's got Jayden Daniels. Molly?
Jayden, you've had...
With the 6th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Malik Nabers, wide receiver, LSU.
Wow. We thought maybe quarterbacks would go 1, 2, 3, and 4 instead. J.J. McCarthy still on the board as we get to 7. As to Nabers, think of all the great receivers that have come out of LSU, including Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Nabers is the school's all-time leader in catches and yards with over 3,000 yards in 3 seasons. In a league that values explosive plays, he led the FBS with 17 catches of 30 yards or longer last year.
Well, I said the most fascinating draft I've ever been associated with because of decisions that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll had to make. Do you go for the heir apparent in J.J. McCarthy to Daniel Jones, who you didn't draft? Okay, you inherited Daniel Jones. So you could have gotten your own guy. Instead, you try to help Daniel Jones. They haven't had an explosive receiver. They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver in 6 years since Odell Beckham Jr. in 2018. Malik Nabers, he's your guy, Bo. Go right ahead. You said it was him all the way.
No doubt. I think he's the best receiver in the draft. He's the most explosive guy in the draft. The fastest receiver. No one caught more touchdowns from the slot than Malik Nabers. You talk about run after the catch, he can do it. If I want to give the NFL fans a picture that you've already seen, think Jamar Chase, but he's faster. And if you're a quarterback, wouldn't you want to throw to Jamar Chase? And for a receiving core with the New York Giants, who absolutely stunk, now they get a guy who has the potential being a #1 receiver. He can play inside, he can play outside, he is explosive, the closest thing to Tyreek Hill that we have seen in the National Football League since Tyreek came in.
Yeah, look, I mean, he is the total package. The only thing he doesn't have Marvin Harrison Jr.'s height. But I'll take his ability to catch contested balls, his run after the catch reminds you in some regard like he's Debo-like in that regard. He's just about as tough as they come. And I'll tell you here, look, when you're talking about Jamar Chase, he has that, because what can Jamar do? Jamar is a 3-position player who can play on the outside or play on the inside. And see, here on the outside, he's just going to be able to line up and split double coverage and run through it. Well, how many times have we seen Jamar Chase do that? We see him do it over and over again. Here, you see it right here. Beat the press, you see, he's splitting quarters coverage essentially, right there, or cover 2 coverage. He'll just run right between the double team and run between those vices, and then it's all over. Explosive after the catch. Can you turn the short 5-yard pass in the explosive plus 20-yard play? Well, Malik, if you've ever been up close to him, you see he has a running back type of body. He doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. This is one of the best plays that we've seen in recent memory as far as Jamar Chase. Watch how many people he avoids on this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, and then he just runs away from them. He's running away from top quality NFL defenders. Yeah. And so when you have that kind of ability, hey, I can see why the Giants would go up and get him. And then elite body control and great hands. You want to talk about vice grips? Absolutely. He will snatch it down. Jamar had some issues early on in his rookie year at Cincinnati. He cleaned those up. He made those kind of circus highlight catches all the time. This kid is complete. Now the question is this.
With the 7th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select J.C. Latham, tackle, Alabama.
Weighed in at 342 at the combine. By the way, he was a sprinter in high school when he was already 6'6" and weighed 300 pounds. Grew up in Wisconsin, 5-star recruit, has been on everyone's radar since the 8th grade. Started 27 games at right tackle for Alabama, also played a little guard.
Yeah, think about this team, Peter Skoronski, right, last year guard. Now you have both tackles, left tackle and right tackle, are need areas for the Tennessee Titans to help Will Levis, who got pounded, played well, but took a lot of hits and ended up getting hurt. He's a kick step maven. He's the kind of guy, you talk about a mountain of a man, 6'5" and a half, 342, doesn't tell the story. He's got the longest arms of anybody you'll come across. He's got massive hands, huge hands, guys, and he will destroy you at the point of attack as a run blocker. Now, his timing of this offensive line was off this year. Talk about setting the protections, things like that, Lou. We saw people blame J.C. Latham when it wasn't his fault. This kid has to cut down on the penalties like Tyler Smith has done with Dallas. That comes with coaching. The O-line coach is going to be key, but J.C. Latham blamed for things that were not true. He played some great games and had a little hiccup. Everybody said he had a horrible game.
Hey, and I know what game you're talking about. You're talking about the Michigan game. He was pitching a shutout until that last play. And let me tell you this. I wish I could show you my notes on my iPad that I wrote down for this guy, but it's not suitable for network TV. But this guy was an absolute monster. When he put his hands on you, it was over. He took Texas A&M's defensive line, and he just went one by one and was just ragdolling people. Tennessee, same thing. I mean, with pass sets, flexibility, redirect, run game, combo blocks, pull around the edge at 6'5" and 340 pounds. Unbelievable athlete. Unbelievable.
All right, so the 8th pick is our next. That's the Atlanta.
With the 13th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia.
What a career for this young man who's from Napa Valley, 3-time All-American. He's the 3rd Georgia player to do that, joining Herschel Walker and our old friend David Pollack. That was also won the Mackey Award as the nation's best tight end twice. He's the only player ever to do so. He's now the highest drafted tight end since Kyle Pitts went fourth in 2021.
7th highest rated player on the board. You get him at pick number 13. That's what you call value. Now, they didn't get the quarterback, but they're overdrafting. Bo Nix was at 31 on my board. That's that feeding frenzy for quarterbacks. All 6 of these guys aren't going to be great. 3 or 4 are probably going to be good. Maybe a couple will be disappointments. They won't all be great. Brock Bowers has a chance to be special. He is a kid you can put in the backfield. You can put him at tight end. You can put him at H-back. You can line him up outside. He's just a weapon. He can catch the ball and do things after the catch with that speed he possesses. He averaged 83 receiving yards in 7 career conference championship games and bowl games. Great run after the catch ability, tracks the ball extremely well. You can move him around everywhere, whether it's Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. That's a quarterback's best friend right there.
And that's exactly it. What do they need? If you can't get the quarterback, then with the quarterbacks that you do have with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, get them weapons and get them multi-positional weapons. Look, they have some nice pieces now with Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, and Brock Bowers. They still need to find a runner. There are some running backs that are going to provide tremendous value later on in this draft. I'm sure they'll be able to pick one up. But this guy's just a weapon, period. And again, if you don't have the trigger guy, then find somebody who can make that trigger guy look a lot better, and this guy can do it. He will own the middle of the field. Absolutely own it.
And I realize he's going to be a weapon, but we got Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. Now we have Brock Bowers, and we still don't have anybody to throw him the football. The offensive line is still a work in progress. I just question the pick and how they're going to be able to use this pick in Las Vegas.
Look, I think there have been so much speculation that they were going to draft a quarterback. Would they move up to try and get Jayden Daniels? All of that connection, and I don't know what their intelligence told them, but the idea that they would not have the option to take any of them.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have traded the 17th pick to the Minnesota Vikings. With the 17th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Dallas Turner, linebacker, Alabama.
You had it on the money, Lewis. He sacked the quarterback 10 times last season. Coaches voted him the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He's young. He just turned 21 in February, but he started 26 games for the Tide after being a consensus 5-star prospect coming out of Fort Lauderdale.
We need the explosiveness. You can pass up traits when you look at this. Is he a finished product? Absolutely not. But when you look at the first step, his ability to come off the football and line up, the versatility, playing defensive end. Can he hold the edge versus the run? You got to be able to set the edge. 6'3", 6'4", 250 pounds. He can set the edge, get into the backfield, and make the tackle. Can you bend the arc, turn the corner? We want our edge rushers to be able to dip that inside shoulder, lean and get to the quarterback. Dallas Turner can do that with that explosive first step. But playing outside linebacker, especially in all the eye front, he's got the ability to drop in coverage. So he provides scheme versatility, and on the money down, third down, he can get after the quarterback.
Needs to be coached, guys. That's the key to him. No counter move right now. You think about the bend, the burst. He has that. Ran 4.46 at 247 pounds. Leaped off over the, talk about 40 and a half. Amazing for a pass rusher off the edge. And he did a good job, 10 sacks this year. But the counter move has to be developed. We talk about being able to get hands on him. Offensive tackles were able to do that at collegiate level. Against the run, he was inconsistent. And a guy who has the talent and showed the promise if coached properly. And I keep bringing up Trayvon Walker as an example of what coaching means to a player. That's going to, like I say, determine if Dallas Turner. It's going to determine Byron Murphy. They were both very similar. They need some work, but they have awesome physical and athletic talent.
Hey, look, this is
With the 18th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Amarius Mims, tackle, Georgia.
Oh, what an interesting prospect this is. Size, athleticism off the charts, but started only 8 games in college due to injury. Played in 30 games, but wasn't a full-time starter until this past year, and he missed about half the season with an ankle that needed surgery. So those are the question marks. But, Mel, there is no question about the talent and the upside.
Yeah, had he stayed healthy, Greeny, or had he gone back to Georgia, you'd have been looking at mock drafts for 2025, had him in the top 5 to 10 overall, 6'7.5", 340 pounds with the biggest hands I've seen in a while, and long arms, unbelievable arm length. Only 8 starts. He had the ankle this year, but when you look at him, love his footwork and agility for such a huge, massive bookend. Run blocker, you talk about powerful hands, displaced defenders on initial contact, down blocking prowess. Develop into a force on the second level, that can happen. As a pass blocker, he's still a little raw, but he has pretty good movement, the power to base anchor, and the long arms to lock out. So again, coaching for Amarius Mims, inexperienced, but if you could draw up a right tackle, and Trent Brown's a veteran. Yeah. You got Joe Burrow, as you said, Lou, that has had injury issues at times. With 2 years he's been hurt in the NFL early in his career. Amarius Mims is a developmental right tackle.
Yeah, when Amarius ties his lower body in with that reach and the punch and the shock he has in his upper body, he's going to remind you of J.C. Latham. That they're really the same type of guy. It's just that Latham plays with more power, I believe, in his lower half and plays with better bend. Amarius gets a little bit taller, a little bit bigger of a guy, but I'll tell you this.
With the 23rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU.
So there's the next receiver for you, Mel. Led the nation in touchdowns last year with 17. Finished his career with 24. So much speed. He ran 4.33. Great size, outstanding athlete. Turned down D1 basketball offers to stay at home, and it was home. He grew up about 20 miles from Baton Rouge in Walker, Louisiana.
Size he has at 6'3", 209 pounds. He's got length with those long arms, and he's got a guy, you talk about speed, 4.33. Only did 11 reps left to see him get a little stronger. 38.5 vertical. Straight line speed is what you see. The vertical routes, you see him there, stop and go, and he's got the touchdown late in there from Jayden Daniels. He was a one-year wonder. He did more this year than he did the previous 2 combined. 17-yard average, 17 touchdowns. He needs to become more of an alpha. He needs to be a guy say, give me the ball. I want it my way. I want it to be the guy to dominate. Malik Nabers took a lot of pressure off. Brian Thomas Jr. was the other guy. He certainly has the ability to track that deep ball and make that catch. I want to see if he has that ability to say, hey, I want to be like the wide receivers who talk a lot. We say that sometimes they talk too much. I want to see Brian Thomas Jr. talk a little more.
Former basketball player, you're right, Mel. He needs to step up and be that alpha, but you talk about athleticism, size, he is a smooth route runner. And don't get him confused with just being a deep threat. He can run the entire route tree. I was talking to wide receiver coach Cortez Hankton. He said he can run any route on the route tree, dependable hands. And for Trevor Lawrence, to me, this clearly puts him on the clock. Last year was Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk. Now we're going to get you another receiver. At some point, Trevor Lawrence, when are you going to take the next step? You have a guy that can go up and get the 50-50 balls. You have to take that next step to start to make plays.
He's going to have to realize what is going to be asked of him down there, which is just that.
Detroit Lions excel in engaging with local football community and growing football participation at the youth and high school levels. Joining me on stage are girls flag football players representing the first 4 schools that competed in the Michigan Girls Flag High School Football League and local high school football tackle students. These young men and women embody NFL values of respect, integrity, resiliency, and responsibility to their teams. Congratulations on your accomplishments in your academic and football careers. Now to make the selection, please welcome Ellie Fagley.
The Dallas Cowboys have traded the 24th pick to the Detroit Lions. With the 24th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Terrion Arnold, defensive back, Alabama.
Sounds like they like it. here in the building. He was a 5-star prospect at safety coming out of Tallahassee, Florida. Made the switch to the outside and excelled. 5 interceptions last year for the Tide. He was also a star basketball player. Could have suited up for Nate Oates at Bama, but ultimately chose to stick just with football, and he made the right choice.
Yeah, he is a kid with ball skills, and he's got toughness. Sometimes he plays a little too physical, if you can believe it, and that could result in some penalties. I thought he got less handsy, less grabby. He controlled it this year, the emotion of being overly aggressive, and he showed NFL ability big time, game in and game out. Ole Miss game, 8 tackles, couple pass breakups and a pick. Kentucky game was outstanding. Auburn game, he had 2 interceptions, 12 pass breakups, 5 picks on the year. Tied for the SEC lead with 17 passes defense. He's 6 feet. He did run 4.5, but he vertical 37. He's got some length. He's their 4th leading tackler, and he brings versatility. He can play inside, he can play outside, and he'll tackle. And that's the underrated part of cornerbacks in the NFL. I am sick and tired of watching cornerbacks and play with 10 guys. Terrion Arnold's one of the tougher cornerbacks to come along. That 4.5 speed with the length he has should not be that much of a concern.
Yeah, it's not a concern for me. You mentioned a 4.5 because of the instincts that he plays with. Sometimes you can have guys that run 4.2, run 4.3 that don't have instincts. He has instincts. He can play inside. He can play outside. The ball skills. And the best for me, for him, is yet to come. He came to Alabama as a safety. Now he's playing corner. He is still learning how to play the position. And we know who the GOAT in college football of coaching defensive backs is, and that's Nick Saban. And he was coached by him, and it's Terrion Arnold.
Yeah, and look, he gets a lot of his work done at the line of scrimmage. He gets your work done at the line of scrimmage. It gets easier late in the down, whether that be with your feet and with your hands on press coverage, or just playing with great leverage as the route starts to declare. The thing that I liked the most about him was his aggressiveness, not just as a run support player or as a boundary corner blitzer. It was how strong he played at the move point. You couldn't shake him. You couldn't push him off. If you didn't have really, really good feet or able to deceive him, you weren't going to lose him because he didn't have the quickness, and he was able to finish when he put his foot in the ground and went, track the ball, get his hands in the right position, and finish on the football. Look, we know Detroit needs playmakers in the back end. It's just another step that Brad Holmes is taking to build this team into an eventual Super Bowl contender.
I'll tell you what he's doing. He's
or a Super Bowl winner.
Building it with a lot of Alabama players. This is the 3rd consecutive year the Lions draft an Alabama player in the first round. They took Jamison Williams 2 years.
With the 27th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Darius Robinson, defensive tackle, Missouri.
Well, he really emerged at the Senior Bowl, Lewis. Perhaps the biggest riser that weekend, playing both defensive tackle and end. He played both at Missouri as well. He's from Canton, Michigan. Could have come out a year ago, chose to go back to school, had 8.5 sacks last season.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who's a combination 4.3 base end at 6'5", 285 pounds. 4-3 technique. Maybe he has to move inside, which I believe my man Book thinks he needs to do.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, he is definitely first team all get off the bus. Okay, when you see this guy walk onto the field, you go, okay, we got a player here. Long arms, great leverage, power, hands inside. He'll stand up an offensive tackle if he lines up in a 4 technique, and he'll be able to reset the line of scrimmage. He's got enough movement where he can run inside, TT stunts and get pressure. He probably doesn't have the speed on the outside to win consistently, but he'll be able to push the pocket from the outside in with power. He's a multi-positional guy, and you think Jonathan Gannon knows, look, we didn't pressure the passer at all in Arizona last year. We need a body type like this.
He definitely offers position flexibility. I think he's going to be a 3 technique because of the lack of speed. You talked to former Missouri defensive coordinator Blake Baker, said he improved as much as any defensive player that he had over the course of 12 months. Great position flexibility, long, the strongest hands you've ever seen, Greeny. That's how he's able to ragdoll these 300-pound guys up the middle. They will love the versatility that they get from him and his playability, the hustle. He will set the tone for the defensive line.
I think a 3 technique.
Yes, I think that's where he's got to play.
And the fact that he got so much strong, he said, I'm going to show you that 21 reps was not right. And he got the 30-plus. So, I mean, it just seems like he's a motivated kid and a versatility. He did it.
With the 31st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver, Florida.
There's a little bit of a surprise. The young man from Phoenix spent 3 seasons at Arizona State before transferring, had 65 catches for the Gators last year, 4 touchdowns, 2 more rushing, Mel.
Arizona State with Herm Edwards, and then he goes to Florida, and he ends up running a 4.41 at the combine, 6'1", 189 pounder. Also had 42 vertical. He has that build-up speed, attention to detail when it comes to releases off the line, route running, route breaks. He's fast, he's tough, outstanding hands. He made some circus highlight reel catches during his career, both at Arizona State and certainly at Florida this past season. He can also be an asset on special teams due to his punt return skills. He said, hey, offensive line, wide receiver, secondary, they need to address. Mentioned the possibilities of some trades there. Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Adonai Mitchell, Latham. That next group of receivers very similar in grade.
Yeah, the thing that really stood out to me about this guy is that the move point at the top of the route, the break point, whatever vernacular you want to use. You see that catch right there? See, that was one-handed, kind of backhanded. Anyway, at the top of his routes, that's where he's at his best. He'll have you all kinds of confused.
The Buffalo Bills have traded the 32nd pick to the Carolina Panthers. With the 32nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Xavier Legette, wide receiver, South Carolina. That closes the first round. Thank you, Detroit, for a record-setting night. Don't forget, over the next 2 days, you can break the all-time NFL draft record. Thank you. See you at 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
All right, so it's Xavier Legette. We were just talking about him. He is the 7th wide receiver that does go in this round 1. Ran 4.39 at 6'1", 221 pounds. One spectacular season at South Carolina.
I'm sorry, McDermott, right now. I'm going, what? Wait, what?
Well,
We've dismissed this. I know.
Bills traded out of spots that allowed Xavier Worthy and Xavier Legette to get selected.
That's 2 big X's, so to speak, that you just got. Well, you just didn't get. This guy, I'm telling you, he can fly. He is competitive at the catch point. He can take the shallow cross. He will split the middle of your defense, and you won't see him anymore. He'll be gone. He can contort his body. He can adjust to bad throws. He will block. He's a competitor. He's tough. Look, Shane Beamer loved him down there in South Carolina. Look at his play right here. This is what I believe one of the fastest recorded GPS top speeds in college football. He was gone. When you watch that on tape, it looks like somebody sped up the tape for just him. At 221 pounds? Come on, man.
I find it really interesting. You had Kansas City won the wide receiver. They got the pick from Buffalo and took Worthy. Carolina wants to help Bryce Young. They got the pick from Buffalo and took Xavier Legette. Now here's Buffalo sitting. Maybe Adonai Mitchell from Texas. Latham. There's other receivers. I will say this. It ended up being, we said, 19 offensive